I just want to say it's a pleasure to be here. It's an honor to be here. I want to thank everybody from TED, from the Brooklyn Bowl, and I just want to let you know I really do believe in love. I really do. I'm not one of those California crystal dudes. It's not one of those kind of talks at all. But I guess maybe the way to talk about it, though, first is because I was told we're really supposed to talk about what it is that makes things better. And it's something that I really do think about, though when they ask you, you're like, oh yeah, I really should think about it, because I just try to do it. And so let me start even with maybe Brooklyn, because I'm a city guy first. That's why I was born in the city. And for what I knew about Brooklyn really was going over the bridge, and even the bridge was the Manhattan Bridge. And I'd go to Junior's, grab some cheesecake, and then bang back to the Lower East Side. And I really was about it. I was Manhattan-centric, that was it. And then I started boxing in Bed-Stuy. And I used to roll through, on my way to Bed-Stuy, I would go through Fort Greene, because all the pretty girls seemed to be in Fort Greene. So I would roll through Fort Greene, on my way boxing. And as I was in Fort Greene, I kept going by this one spot, and it was in a sinkhole of a parking lot and kind of a decrepit building. And something in me said, that's it, Sean. That's your spot. You know, I had a spot called Cafe Habana in the city, and I was doing well, and I love boxing in Bed-Stuy, but there was something in me that did want to do something more, and I wanted something better than. I was spending a lot of time in the basement at Cafe Habana fighting over the price of a case of milk, a case of a toilet paper. I'm like, that's my life, and it has to be something more to it. So when I saw this lot, and I said, this is it. This is my chance to make my mark and do something to make the world really a better place. Most people said, you're bugging. No, what are you thinking? But I started with the lot, and then I said, this is it. And I asked the guy who was selling, and I said, will you sell it to me? He wouldn't even talk to me. I was like, no, you got to sell it to me. So finally, we started having a rapport. He gave me the contract to buy the building. I went to go try to get a mortgage, and they were like, no dice, it's not happening. So I was like, I don't know what to do. But I had a relationship with him at this point. I bought another building, learned about buildings, went back, because I really did have a dream for Habana Outpost. And that's really where it started for me, and really trying to think about my life and thinking about making the world a better place in a much more serious way. So as I did that, the first thing I did at Habana Outpost, we put up a 40-foot awning of solar panels. And that awning of solar panels, it was on the street level so you could see it, and it was kind of the nascent stage of environmentalism becoming mainstream. And all of a sudden, all the environmentalists are coming out the woodwork, hipping me to like what's possible, or saying, Sean, do you want to try this? You want to try that? And I'm like, bet, yeah, let's do this, let's do that. And I have to say that the environmental movement and the people in it are really some of the most generous, knowledgeable people that I've come across, and there was so much. And so anyway, they're just telling me more and more, and I'm getting educated, I'm getting excited, I drink the Kool-Aid, I'm on board 100%. And I said, let's do it. And right then, from the get-go, we started to establish a community. So we had the solar panels, and that was one thing we had. And even the restaurant at this point, I had a restaurant in the city, it was doing well, it was kind of a straight diner restaurant. But I'm not that guy. I'm not the guy who wants to talk about Radicchio for half an hour. And I'm not the foodie restaurant guy. There are those guys that usually wear flannel shirts and have beards, and it's not me. I was like, and I appreciate the Farm to Table and Alice Waters, and there's a lot of her disciples here in Brooklyn that are pushing it to the next level, and I'm so happy that they're here and that's their thing. But for me, being in the restaurant business is much more of I have that grandma gene in me. I want everyone to eat and have a good time, and that's what it's about. And so I got the solar panels up. I have all these environmentalists coming. And then I'm like, what else is it that really makes me excited? Because I feel like in order to change things, you have to be into it yourself and be about something. So I love artwork. So you saw Lee there, who's really a god of the New York art scene. He recreated the first handball court that was ever tagged in New York. He did that. I had some kids from Pratt, some other artists coming, and all of a sudden the artists kind of feel like it's their community and they're part of it. And then movies. I love movies, so we show movies on the side of the building every Sunday night. So people come for that, and it's like there's no charge, nothing. You eat, you don't eat, you drink, you don't eat. Just let's come and have a good time and get together. So then that's happening. And then it's like, I want to do more, though. And so then we started a nonprofit called Kids Corner. And it's kind of a softly didactic environmental program that we're running with children. So it might be a ladybug release, it might be the composting worm workshop, in different ways, just trying to get kids excited about environmentalism, because ultimately they're going to carry the mantle and decide how this world ends up. And then what I thought would be an interesting idea is, let's take architecture students, and right now there's one intercollegiate design build architecture program run in New York, and it's run by me, who's like, why me? I'm a guy who makes tacos. But it's because I love architecture, and I'm excited about it, and I like young people, and I like their energy. So I was like, let's do that. And so you can see we did a program in Bed-Stuy at a school, and it's one of these schools where the Department of Education school is with the charter school, and sometimes there's friction. And we tried to make an outdoor classroom that they could all use and get along. And so it's their school colors. All the school colors are planted there. It's for everybody. And ultimately, maybe this brings me back to why Brooklyn, why I love Brooklyn, what else I saw besides pretty girls riding through Fort Greene in this building. And that was literally the whole world is in Brooklyn. And I love Brooklyn. And I fell in love with Brooklyn. And I think we're all here because we love Brooklyn. And what I think Brooklyn has, and what is it's historically, I mean, you can look back to Alexandria, you can look back to ancient Rome, but there's never been a time in human history where you've literally had the whole world together in such close proximity to each other. And Manhattan used to really carry the torch to the Lower East Side in many ways, but that's the old days. Right now it's Brooklyn that's doing that. And so I felt if I could do something in Brooklyn and I could make everybody come to, we have these crazy green barbed wire fence around the restaurant, and it's outdoors, and people just feel more comfortable being outdoors. It's kind of just levels the playing field. If I could make a spot where everybody felt comfortable, literally everybody would be coming to the restaurant, and that's really a way to change the world. It could be you want to go shopping, and you go to the DMV, you're on parole. For whatever reason, there's some reason to come to downtown Brooklyn if you live in Brooklyn. So I was there in a spot where literally the whole world was, and if I could make them all feel comfortable, that was it. And I'm feeding them, and I'm nurturing them, and I think that's wholesome. And again, I believe that if you can build a community and you take care of your community, then you're going to take care of the whole world. Because if we all just look out, first it was me. I had to like figure out what it was that it was driving me and be about something and want to make a change, want to make the world better. Then I found like-minded people, whether it was environmentalists or artists, whether it was people who wanted to run the nonprofit. They came on board, and so then we're a bigger community. Then there's people that come there, and it could be they're slumming it, eating ethnic food. This could be like, come on, baby, we're going out. It's Friday night, and it's a big night on the town. But everybody's coming to the restaurant, whether they're bringing their kid to ride the Batmobile. They're all coming there. It's communal seating, and they're all getting along. And that's what we have to do to make this world, whether it's environmentalism or it's geopolitical. We need to somehow get along and all know that we're on the same page. So I really was trying to take the restaurant, feed people, feed their soul, and build a community. The two things that I said, like when I came over to do Brooklyn, I really wanted to take the things about the restaurant that I liked. And like I said, I'm a cornball, but I'm a people person. That's what I'm into. So I wanted to bring everybody in, and I wanted the two kind of guiding principles were the last scene of 8 1/2, the movie. It's kind of like controlled chaos and people playing trombones and ladies with pirouettes, and they're all smiling, having a good time, and it's nutty, but it's cool and fun. And then Warhol's factory, because that was this place that people really kind of disparate people came and congregated and got together and cross-pollinated, and something unique came out of that situation. And I guess maybe one of the things that came out of that cross-pollination was, and I know we have a couple speakers from there too, was Etsy. Etsy really started in many ways in the courtyard of Havana Outpost. And even when we were doing it with Rob, he had kind of two guiding people that were helping him out. There was me and his grandfather, who worked for IBM and wanted to beta test a lot of things. And I was like, yo, Rob, just do it, put it out there. And that kind of became Outpost style. Let's just have a good heart, good idea, and just throw it out into the world and see what happens. And I believe, no, without being presumptuous at all, because you think there's like a little restaurant in downtown Brooklyn, and then you have something like Etsy that's going to be worth billions of dollars one day, and how do they fit together? I think how they fit together is it really is about community and putting people together. And I guess maybe in conclusion, again, like how do you make it better? I think you start with yourself and try to make yourself better and feel like, what do I care about? And again, getting back to love is like, what do I love to do? What do I love to be around? What do I want to be about? And you figure that out. That, I think alone, people are attracted to that if it's something pure. I mean, you don't want to do some crazy nonsense, but if you're doing something you really believe in it, I think you're going to get people to come on board. As you come on board, so then that's your family. It may not be your biological family, but that's your family. So your family's on board, and then it's your community. And if you do your community, that goes from there and it changes the world. Whether it's my sister now is in Australia, kind of taking the Havana vibe that she created with me and moved it to Sydney. It could be the woman who ran Havana Outpost, now has one of the best, I would say, children's store that's in Brooklyn, and that's taking care of people in another way, but it's still that sense of community and love and trying to make things happen together. Or it could be Etsy, which is, you know, revolutionary and changing the world in a whole other way, but still never lost sight of the brick and mortar kind of community and found a way to bring that into the internet. So I guess in conclusion, in my little love speech here is, for me to really try to change the world, I think is first, you have to love something, you have to be about something, you have to want to make it better. I really think it's really important too that you don't hit people over the head like some didactic, you know, jerk and tell them like how to live. I don't think that's cool at all. But just lead by example, attract people to you. So first it starts with you, then you get a little family, then it's the community, and then it's the world. So we're here in Brooklyn, so it's time we take over the world, right? All right.